They say that even a second is an eternity in Formula One, so going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 16 corners and 3.3 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles an hour. The close proximity of the barriers makes accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. I'm joined today in the commentary box, as I will be throughout this season, by a great racing driver, a former F1 competitor, a man who was world champion once upon a time as well, and an all-round top chap. It's the one and only Anthony Davidson. And tell me, here we are, first Grand Prix of the season, the first time racing these cars. So what are the big questions that need to be answered here, in your view?
First of all, Crofty, and thanks for the glowing introduction, I just want to say it's a real privilege to be here, and I can't wait to see what this competitive field has in store for us this season. Now, to answer your question, obviously there's the question of performance in race trim, but really this is going to be all about reliability. It's the first Grand Prix of the season, don't forget. You're pushing all your new components to their limits. Formula One cars are full of very sophisticated but also very sensitive technology. So the most important thing today is to get to the end of the race, keep everything in good condition and try to stay out of trouble while you're at it.
Let's convert this pole position into a win today. Good luck.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. It's Williams in pole position then, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Massa, Vettel, Perez and Romain Grosjean, Button, Alonso, Daniel Kvyat and Sainz, Gutierrez, Magnussen, Nico Hülkenberg and Felipe Nasser, Ericsson and Harry Anto, Pascal Wehrlein and Jolyon Palmer rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Drive-through penalty. You have a drive-through penalty. conditions should remain dry. We will keep you informed of any changes to the weather. This is your final chance to serve the penalty. Enter the pits this lap or will be disqualified from the race. Finish with a little extra fuel, so you have some in hand to run a faster engine mode for a bit. Rosberg's the race leader. Pit window is open. The pit window is open. In this lap, but remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach. As you leave the pits. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. have damage to the front wing, we suggest you come in as soon as possible, rather than risk it getting worse. We think there's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan, or try the new one? Understood, copy that. Go, go, go. Excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down. Some information on Gutierrez. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car. Some information on Alonso. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car. is 2.1 seconds. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, you're within 1 second of the car ahead. Get ready to use DRS to overtake. Taking the lead. There's about a lap's worth of spare fuel in the car. You won't be able to run in mix 3 for long with that much, but do burn it if you need to. So the gap to our teammate is 13.7 seconds. Some information on Alonso. They're speeding up again, so I expect they've fixed whatever the problem was. Of fuel remaining. free.
So, another fantastic victory for Williams today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres. But at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else. And that's exactly what they had today.
Oh, here they are now. I always love seeing the independent teams do well. Williams have a long and storied history with F1, and I'm delighted to see them on the top step of the podium. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. There's been a league change at the top of the championship after a superb performance. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Well, after a drive like that, it's got to be Nico Hülkenberg, hasn't it? Very clean, very smooth. He can be really pleased with that one.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes move to the top of the table. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.